Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to do another build. So this time round it will be a ice blue dial and this GS inspired looking case. So if you're new around here, I build watches, Seiko mods, and I also make use of any other affordable movements to try and experience different watch builds, as well as do reviews on more budget brands and its watches. So feel free to subscribe to me if you think I'm helpful. So let's get on with today's build. So today we're gonna build a NH35 model. So just a very standard NH35 design, running on this NH35 white date wheel, as well as a GS inspired looking case, which the quality is really good as you will see later. And for the dial, we are just going with a very nice ice blue dial. I really like the texture of the dial, and you will get to see later when I'm building the hands, the dial really shines on its own. And then along with it, we'll just be using a very simple black hands for all three hands. So we want to let the dial shine in this case, which is why for the case as well, I also opted for a gray chapter ring that comes with it. So yeah, just let's get on with the build now. So yep, you can see this dial has a very unique shade of blue. So for everything that I'm using and I've bought here, I will link them down in the description below. So you feel free to check them out if you are interested in getting one for yourself. Right, so for this dial, it comes with 6 dial feet in total. So we have to remove 4 in this case. So as usual, just line them up to the 2 holes that you can see I'm pointing now. One above the 3 o'clock and then one just below the 9 o'clock. So the dial should fit perfectly. So for this dial, because there's a date window, so it's a lot easier just to line it up at the 3 o'clock posture to identify which dial feet will be the one that you're using, and then you have to remove the other 4 accordingly. Alright, so to remove the other 4, easily just take any plier that you have and then just give it a very slight twist, right? You don't have to use too much force in this case. So usually what I'll do is I'll just swivel the plier just very slightly. As you can see, it just comes off very easily. So just remember to also remove your movement away from not don't do this on top of your movement, or you risk dropping this loose dial feet into your movement and then it might cause damage. So just to prevent that entirely, just make sure that it's not anywhere near when you are removing this dial feet. So once you remove all 4 of the dial feet, it's time to just fix the dial onto the NH35 movement. So just give the movement a quick dust off with the dust blower to make sure that no residue dust are on it. And what I do usually is I just align it properly first. Before then, I picked it up through using the crown stamp to just give it a proper fix. Just slight push to make sure that they are aligned with the holes, and just make sure it's fixed properly onto the movement. So once you have the dowel fitted properly onto the movement, it's time to put on the hands. So because this comes with a date wheel, so what you usually have to do is to make sure that you put the hands, the hour hand and the minute hands on the 12 o'clock marker once the date flicks to the next day. So as you can see, I'm doing that, it's going really slowly on the date wheel to make sure that at the point it flicks just right then, I make sure that when I'm putting the hands, it's aligned at 12. So whenever the clock strikes midnight, then the date will change accordingly. So this time around, I think I didn't really take too long to put on the hands. So as usual, using Lotico, I align it at the 12 o'clock marker and then just give it a simple push using the hand pusher. So I think another tip I realized is that it's important to just align, to just place the hands on top of the dial first, and then from there on try and make some minor adjustments, and then also constantly look at it from a side angle to make sure that the hands is always above the indices. So for this one, I think I did encounter some issues because the indices are a little bit more elevated than usual. So because of that, sometimes when I was adjusting the hour marker, it will hit and get stuck at some of the indices. So what I had to do was to just make sure that the height of the hands is right, just nice above the indices, and then of course I'll try and play around with it to make sure that there is sufficient clearance as the hour hand moves across the entire clock face, right? So once that's done, I did some minor adjustments to make sure that it is nice and proper at 12 o'clock whenever the date changes, before I get ready for the minute hand. So the minute hand is less of an issue given the fact that this is placed above the hour hand. So I think in terms of clearance wise on the elevated indices of this dial, it's not a problem. So once you just line it on top, right on top of the hour hand at the 12 o'clock marker, using the hand pusher to make sure that it fits tightly, then it's done, right? So I think usually mini hands is not that big of an issue for me because usually I take it reference from the hour hand, right? So and then I did spend a little bit of time cleaning the hands. I think in this case because the Rodico I use perhaps is not of the best quality, or I think it's not like the genuine one, which could be extremely pricey. So then they did leave a little bit of stains on these hands. So what I had to do was I just take a microfiber cloth, damped it a little with water, and then just give it some light swipes on the hands, and then just be very careful to make sure that you don't bend the hands because then you can't use them anymore, right? So just what I did was I just give it a light swipes to make sure that the stains go away, as you can see later on. So for the second hands, fairly standard. I still stick to what I think works best for me. So in this case, what I did use is some radical at the tip of the smallest hole hand pusher, and then I just fix the second hands on it. And how the second hand works is that there is a very tiny feed on the second hands that is supposed to be inserted right on top in the center of the dial. As you can see, there's a very tiny hole. Sorry for the quality of the video, but there's a very tiny hole that you are supposed to insert the second hands feed into, and that's where it sits properly. So in this case, I also use a loop to just give me the magnification that I require, and just a clearer view of what I was dealing with. And yeah, as you are able to tell, then it just fits it on very nice, very easily, without too much effort. So I also like to feature this watch case and bracelet here, which I really like. Um, I've got this also on AliExpress. I will link them down below. So this came in a full set. They have different colors as well. Silver, gold, rose gold, black, if I'm not wrong. And you can also choose the chapter ring inside. So in this case, I opt for a silver bracelet, silver case with a silver chapter ring because I wanted to let the blue dial shine on its own. Right. So case quality very good. Very happy with no sharp edges, no scuffs, scratches. I think for the price I paid, definitely worth the amount of money, right? And it came with a chapter ring, like I mentioned, and a spacer, white spacer inside to fit your NH35 movement tightly into the case. So this case runs, I think, about 39 millimeter in diameter. So perfect for those hands wrists that are not that huge. I personally have a very small wrist, so this I like the way this fits and wear on my wrist, right? So I did took some time to figure out how to actually put the movement and the dial into the bracelet, because it comes with a few moving parts, right? So it came with the grey chapter ring like I mentioned, the white spacer that I mentioned. So um, I had to play around with it first before actually putting it all together, because when I tried to just put the movement into it along with the chapter ring, right, the spacer just wouldn't fit, or if I had to risk forcing it in, I was afraid that the spacer might break or any parts of the movement breaks, which is worse. So I did take some time, and to me I felt that this was the best way to put the movement into the white spacer first on the outside. Of course, align the date window with the hole, as you can see on the right at the 3 o'clock position of the white spacer, because that's where your crown stamp will be going in. And then after that, just put the chapter ring on top, and then just put the case on it properly and just give it a flip over. So I also forget to mention why I'm doing it with the bracelet on. So I think I would have very much taken the bracelet out, but I think I was just too lazy, since it came along with the bracelet already pre-installed on the case. So I thought, why not just do it together, so I don't have to just put on another part again once I'm done with the watch, right? So as you can see, everything fits nice and tight, snug into the case itself. Looks very good. The blue dial shining on its own, and I think I like the effect of how this very grey simple chapter ring gives on this case specifically, because it looks like it's pointing to this focus point, which is the dial, and of course transparent case back at the back. I did not go with any water sticker this time around. Just I think to keep things really simple, right? So another thing to mention is that the crown in this case is not a screw down, so you just have to push it in and then pull it out. So basically, there's no screw that comes with it. It doesn't screw into place. So when it's in its default position, you will be able to just wind the watch naturally, and then to change the date and adjust the time, you just have to pull it out one time and two time respectively, right? So once everything fits properly, it's time for me to just cut the stem to the right length. So just be very careful. I actually had to do this again because I cut the first time around too short, so thankfully I had a spare stem. And then what I did was I just make sure that I cut just slightly longer, and then proceed to file it down with some sandpaper. So, and then I think it's good, because then you'll be able to um, do some minor fine adjustment without risking the fact that you might potentially overly shorten the stem, and then you have to get a new one or use a spare one, right? So I think on that note also, just remember to get extra stamps when you are building watches, just in case, because I know how frustrating it can be when you are almost done with your watch, but you overly shorten the stem and you no longer have an extra stamp to work with. Yeah. So the last thing left to do in the case of this mod is of course to put the O ring that I've taken out initially back on. So the O-ring fits right over the case back, so you can make use of a tweezer, or I think after that I decided to just use my hand to make sure that it stays into position while I align the rest of the diameter of the O-ring. So it should fit properly because it came. I'm sure it's the right size because it came with it snug over it properly. Yep. So once they're done, just give everything a good dust off, a good wipe down to make sure that no other dust or residue is in the watch, and then just close it up. So once everything is done, it's time to just link back the bracelet. So like I mentioned just now, the bracelet links for the bracelet pins for this bracelet is not screw, so you have to push it in. So I have a bracelet adjustment tool that helps me with it. It's a lot easier, as you can see later, but otherwise you can also use a hammer. So what I do usually is I just hammer in as far as possible, and anything left jutting out, I will use the bracelet adjustment tool to just screw it in. So yeah, feel free to get one. It's not expensive. So yeah, I managed to fix everything together. So now the watch looks really beautiful. I think the black hands fit it very well. I was contemplating between the black hands or gold hands, but I decided to go for the black instead because, like I said, the focus in this case is the dial. It's a very unique dial, extremely textured, it's kind of like sand textured. So given that, and then I really like how the watch and the bracelet complements it very well as well. So it's been long. I think it's been quite a while since I built a NH35 or even NH series previously. I was meddling with other movements. So yeah, if you have any other ideas of what kind of watches I should build, feel free to comment, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.